That's all right.
Must
Don't worry.
no Wi-Fi. Okay. Okay. And your name's Emma?
Perfect. Well, yes, Emma.
Nice to meet
It's
you.
lovely to meet you, Sarah. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me. I love when I get to talk to women specifically,
Yeah.
especially in the space that we're in, where it's a very male-dominated sport. So it's always an honor to speak to women, who are practitioners of BJJ, or if they're in the MMA world, it's always such an honor to speak to women in the space. So again, just my biggest thanks to coming and talking to me because I love it. If it's all right, I'd love to start with how you actually got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like what got you started on this journey that we'll, eventually go on to talk about later on today.
Yeah, for sure. So I got started in 2018, and it was actually my ex-boyfriend who got me into it. He trained for a long time, and he wanted to get back into it, and we'd gotten together about a year before that, and he thought I'd really like it. And he was right. I fell in love with the sport. It was really challenging. Like I'd never done a martial art or anything before, so I had absolutely no clue what to
Yeah.
expect. And the first class, I remember just being like, what in the world is actually going on right now? Why are all these people on the ground trying to move in weird ways? uh, and so in the class I actually started with was our my lunchtime class at my old gym,
Mm,
and it was known as the Polar Bear Club because
right.
it was literally like 200-pound blue belt and up dudes and then me. So
Nice. Okay.
that was my main class that I went to for the first 6 to 7 months, and so
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time living my life getting destroyed by large men and just learning how to be tough and suck it up and get through it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could definitely call that a baptism by fire. That sounds like
For real.
maybe
Yeah.
the best or the worst start to competing in a sport you have absolutely no idea about. But like you said, you've built resilience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It
Um,
makes you tough real quick.
yeah, I guess so. I'm definitely not jealous of your start. I'll be totally honest. I don't ever want to join a polar bear club.
Yeah.
Um, what was the moment for you where you thought, I want to keep doing this? You're not just turning up to classes sort of, casually because you're really enjoying it. What was the moment for you where you're like, no, I actually think I could do really well in this and I want to compete?
Um, so actually, it was probably after my first competition that I really got like hooked. I competed really early. I signed up for a competition after just 6 weeks.
Oh,
So
wow.
and I was going every day. Like I loved
Yeah.
it right away and like jumped just head first in.
Love
And
that.
there was a tournament coming up. I started in January. There was a tournament towards the end of February, and I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. So signed
Nice.
up. The first round, I got my ass handed to me, and I was in mount, like bottom mount, the whole time, flailing
Yeah.
around like a dead fish, and thinking like, what in the world did I sign up for? Like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
And then I got my head back together, and I managed to win my second round, which was really cool.
That's really cool.
And because of the way the bracket worked out, like, I actually ended up winning my whole division. So I got a gold medal in the first tournament I did, and I think it was, like, just a reflection that, like, okay, I can be put down, but I can, like, get myself back together and rise
Yeah.
up to the challenge, and, like, I wanna keep doing that, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that. That's so amazing. And I love the fact that, 6 weeks in, you were like, yeah, you know what? Let me just try it
Try
and
it.
yeah, let's just go for it. And I
Yeah.
also love the fact that you're quite happy to admit that you did get your ass handed to you in that first
Mhm.
round, because I think maybe some people might not like to admit that, but it's really
Yeah.
nice to hear that you are able to say, oh yeah, ass was handed to me, but
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
managed to, like you said, put your brain back together and we're like, right, okay, I know I can do this, and well, she's got a gold medal out of it.
Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. I saw on your Instagram back in December, I think it was, that you had some success at a competition. How does it feel now from, back in 2018 when you were preparing for a competition? How does that preparation for you look now, and how does it feel for you preparing for competition?
So it's way different. I mean, I've probably done close to like 20 different competitions now. So I'm
Mhm.
a lot more seasoned and experienced. Last year in June, I was able to go out and compete at IBJJF Worlds, which is a huge
Wow.
major
Yeah.
tournament in California. Um, and so prepping for that like really helped me a lot with competitions. And I've learned how to like focus my training and how to really focus my mindset leading up to competitions.
Mm.
So I've learned how to like accept that the nerves are going to be there
Yeah.
and the adrenaline is going to be there. And I'm a lot better now with actually being able to use that on the day of a competition versus letting it like throw me off my game. It
Yeah.
actually usually enhances my game now, which is really
Oh,
cool.
incredible. Yeah,
Um,
no, that's amazing.
yeah, I think it's a mindset too of just like not being afraid of what's going to happen and not knowing the outcome, but just like
Yeah.
accepting that my goal is to go out and do some good jujitsu and just try my best and see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all you really can do in the moment. Obviously, you've done all your prep, but ultimately, that is kind of when it comes down to it, that's all you can do. So I know you have the women's invitational coming up. I think it's tomorrow, actually.
It's tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah, tomorrow. How are you feeling going into that? Because it seems like it's like I said to you at the very start of this conversation, like I love women in this sport. I just think that
Mhm.
you're all incredible. And so for me, it's just really nice that there's a women's invitational. But how does it feel
Yeah.
for you as the athlete?
Yeah, so this is a really exciting competition. It's being put on by a gym called Vital Combat Team in Ohio. So after I finish work in a couple hours, I'm actually going to be driving over to Ohio tonight.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and it's really neat because one of the things that I want is I want more women to compete, and I encourage my women all the time, like to show up and start competing at local tournaments because
Mhm.
as women, like very few women do jujitsu, and of those very few women that do jujitsu, even fewer are willing to step up and show their stuff and try and compete.
Yeah.
Especially at smaller tournaments, like it's typical. I'll only get maybe one or two other girls in my bracket
Yeah.
unless I go out to like the big expensive tournaments with all the travel and everything. So
Yeah.
what's great about this tournament is Alana put it together and we're getting women from like all over the Midwest coming together and there are
Oh, no
7
way.
girls in my bracket. So there are 7 purple belt women and I'm like I've never had a bracket that big other than like IBJJF.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, and I'm so excited to get to, like, be invited to this and be a part of it, and I think it's just gonna be a really cool thing.
That sounds incredible, and the fact that you've got 7 other women in your bracket compared to, the typical 1 or 2, like, that's incredible. Like, I'm so excited for you for this. Like, it just that's it's so nice to hear, and I know obviously I'm on the other side of the pond, but it's so nice to hear that, women are taking that leap, albeit, it can be quite a scary leap to like you say,
Yeah,
to compete, but it's so nice to
it's
hear that women
terrifying,
are.
dude, especially if
Yeah.
you've never done, like, a competitive sport. I mean, jujitsu's hard enough, but then you have to
Yeah.
deal with, "Okay, I'm gonna go compete. I'm gonna step on this mat with somebody I never know who's, like, literally trying to kill me." And with all the people watching and everything. So it's very challenging, but I think it's such a good boost for your jujitsu because it really shows where you're weak and what your holes are in your game and
Yeah.
also what you're really good at.
Yeah. That's amazing. Obviously it is like we've been saying, it's a very male dominated sport, but it sounds like you've had quite a positive overall experience of being a woman in BJJ. Have there been any
Yeah.
moments for you though that have kind of made you think, "Oh, like this is crap to be a woman in this sport?"
Um, I mean, I think not any major moments. Thankfully, both the gyms that I've attended have had really awesome guys overall, and so I haven't really had
Yeah.
any like super negative experiences with men. And I'm very fortunate for that because that's not always the case for women in this sport. I
Yeah.
think just, you got to deal with sometimes you're the only girl in the room and sometimes you're the smallest and you just have to deal with that and learn how to manage that. But I'm
Yeah.
really lucky. I came from a gym in Tennessee, and my women's team there, I came into a huge, well-run women's program. Like we had between 30 and 40 women on our team,
Wow. Yeah.
and our black belt Rachel Morrison Casillas, she is like a multiple time Pan Am champion, and she runs a fantastic program. So I got really spoiled.
Yeah.
Um, And then I moved up to Illinois, and I've been able to see more women start coming to my gym too. And we probably have between like 10 to 20 regular women now on the team.
Yeah.
That's really cool too.
No, that's amazing. Like, it does feel a little bit like you've had a yeah, like you say, you've been a bit spoiled, but
Yeah.
what an incredible team to be spoiled with,
Mhm.
such a huge number of women. But then it's also nice to hear that, albeit it might be slowly, that the current gym you're at, it is growing for women. So that's so
Yeah.
nice to hear. It does feel good inside,
Mhm.
that women are stepping out and going, "No, I'm gonna do this for myself." Um,
Right.
do you have any advice for women that are considering starting BJJ, whether it is to compete or it's just,
Mhm.
it's for their safety, or they just want to try something new? What would be your one piece of advice to those women?
Mm, just start.
Mhm.
Like, there's no secret to getting a black belt. Like, black belt, there's a saying that like black belts are white belts who just didn't stop showing up. And
Oh,
I
that's great.
think that's so true. Like, you just have to make the choice that you're going to start training and you're going to learn a new language with your body, and you're going to suck for a long time, but it's okay. Because you got to keep in mind, like, the goal is we want to make ourselves better people, better fighters, able to defend ourselves. Like, I'm 127 pounds, but I feel like if an untrained dude comes at me in the street, like, I know enough now that I can defend myself enough to get away and get to safety. And
Yeah.
so if you're a woman who's like curious about it, find a gym around your area, try out a few different gyms, see where you're comfortable with, and just go for it, man. That's the thing. You just got to decide to do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess really it's, you're gonna suck for a little while, but it's gonna get better, and obviously you're, living proof that it's gonna get better. So I
Yeah.
guess kind of thanks to your ex-boyfriend. I mean, we don't like
Well,
ex-boyfriends
right.
here, but.
Yeah, but I mean, that was one good thing, like, you know? And it's just I tell my new people that all the time when they start in their first class, and my women's class that I help run, at my gym, we get a lot of new women, like,
Yeah.
it's really geared towards, like, brand new women showing up on their first few weeks, and I
Mhm.
tell them all the time, like, "Be patient with yourself and know that, like, I've been in your shoes and I've sucked just as bad and been just as confused, and it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
that's just part of it."
No, it's nice to hear that you're creating an environment that is sort of, this is a judgment-free zone. We're all just here to do the same thing. We've all been in that position, because I think sometimes that's a barrier that keeps women out of this sport, because they're,
Yeah,
in a gym that's full of, men that have gone to this competition and they've won this and that. And I think
mhm,
perhaps their ego can maybe be a bit too much for a newbie. But it sounds like you're
mhm.
really building that environment to help women feel, oh, I may feel a bit silly and I'm going to feel sore, but this is day one, step one. It'll only
Yeah.
get better from here. So that's so nice to hear. um I saw on your Instagram as well that you're a mum. I wondered, do you encourage your children to, or child, to compete in BJJ? Is it something that you would like to see them pursue? Because clearly it's made you a really strong person, and
Yeah.
it's clearly, instilled some really incredible lessons in you. I wondered, would you encourage them to do it as well?
Yeah, so my son is, he'll be 3 in June, so he's
Oh,
little still.
yeah.
Uh, and he's been on the mat since he was, like, 2 weeks old. Like, I've
Oh,
always just brought him to the gym, and so he's grown up, like, being in the environment.
yeah.
Um if he wants to do it, like, I am full on, like, I will support him in any way, but I don't think it's my place to, like, force this on him, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I love jujitsu, but my son, he might not. Like, right
Yeah.
now, we have a Pee-wee's class for, like, 3 to
Oh.
5-year-olds, and so sometimes I can get him to put on the gi and do parts of classes here and there, and then
Oh.
he'll toddle off and do his thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very much a believer in, like, let your kid do what they wanna do, and just because I like jujitsu and I love competing doesn't mean he will, so
Yeah.
I wanna support, like, I think it's a great thing for kids to do, and I'm definitely gonna encourage him to do it.
Mhm.
um, but if he is like, "Mom, I really like soccer," or, "Mom, I like basketball," or, "I like crocheting," or whatever, like, I think it's really important that you let your
Yeah.
kid be themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess really the lesson that you can pass on to your son is try anything and you know, see what you fall in love with, because I think that's still a really strong lesson that you can provide from BJJ, whether he
Mhm.
wants to do it or not. I think there's definitely a lot of lessons that you can, you know, pass on to him, which I think is great. Let's hope he
Yeah.
does want to do BJJ, because it's a great sport, let's be honest.
I would love to be able to roll with him or get him in wrestling or something. Like, I would love for
Yeah,
him to learn to grapple and stuff, but we'll see. We'll see
yeah,
how it goes.
we will see how it goes. So just to wrap things up, what is it, you know, next for you after this invitational, the women's only invitational? Have you got any other plans to compete in anything else this year? You know, what's the future looking like for you?
Yeah, so I definitely have some goals for competition wise. I'm really trying to go and do a lot of competitions right now while my son is
Mhm.
still young enough that he's not really invested in his hobbies. Because I
Yeah,
know in a few years, like I'm gonna need to take a back seat and really support what he's wanting to get into. So
yeah,
that's why, like the next year or two, I'm like trying to go full on as much experience as I
yeah.
can get. Um, so at the end of March, I actually got sponsored by a company, organization called Sisterhood of the Traveling Gi. And so
Oh,
they sponsored me to do a competition at the end of March in Indianapolis. So that's the
oh,
next one.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's really cool. Like I applied for that and I'm gonna compete in like all four divisions for that and just really try and show my stuff there.
that's
Um,
incredible.
Big goal too, I'm looking at doing Master Worlds in at the end of August out in
Yeah,
I think it's in Vegas. So
yeah,
that's I would love to do hopefully the gi and no gi worlds. We'll see. But
yeah,
definitely the gi worlds at the end of August. That's like the big
yeah.
target this year.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I mean, good luck with everything, and I hope tomorrow is as joyful as it seems it's going to be. Where can people find you on social media, so they can follow your journey?
Yeah, so Instagram is probably my biggest thing right now. Jitsu Ginger BJJ, and then I have a Facebook page as well. It gets a little less traffic. I don't post as
Yeah,
frequently on there, but definitely my Instagram, and it's public, so you guys can just give me a follow on there. Follow along. I try and keep up with all the tournaments I'm doing and like lessons that that I coach and little things about my classes here and there.
yeah. Well, amazing. Thank you again so much for talking to me, and coming on.
Thanks for
It's
having me.
always
This
an
is so
honor.
cool.
But yeah, thank you so much, and I hope tomorrow is as wonderful as it sounds like it's going to be.
Awesome. Yeah, I do too. It's gonna be great. I mean, no matter what, like it's always cool when you get a bunch of women together who love doing what you're doing. Like,
Yeah,
so win or
like
lose, like it's gonna be a great day. And I've got literally 6 or 7 people from my gym who are coming over with me to watch me fight in another state tomorrow. And so
that.
I'm really blessed. Like I'm really
Yeah.
grateful for everything I have right now. So thank you.
That's amazing, and I'm so pleased to hear that you've got such a good, you know, group of people around you supporting you, you know, loving your journey. Yeah, I can't wait to see how you do tomorrow, March, and maybe even in August as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, thank you so much for talking to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You have
Thank
a great
you. And
day.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.